what other parts of this Coder School website do you guys like, or just things that you notice that are different compared to the world's worst website? There could be things that you don't like about this website too. Not every website's perfect, but just what do you like about it? Similar colors, text is more readable, color themes maintained, easy to read text, organized. Yep, those are all really good answers. There's links to things that aren't fake hyperlinks, so that's always nice. So yeah, those are some good answers. Now I'm gonna send, so this is the link to Tynker. If you wanna get logged in, we can, if you have an account. If not, you can just follow along, or you can make an account if you want. But we're just gonna, for like the next portion of time, we're gonna do like some workshop. You'll all have a chance to make your own website. Sound good?
Hi, Coach Lauren.
Hi, Dominique.
Just wishing you a good luck at your first hackathon with us. We're excited.
Thank you. Got some great engagement so far.
Good. Hi, Aditya.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Happy to see everyone's excited in chat to start workshopping some websites. So I'll come over, I'll close out these for now. Here are a few example websites. I'll show you some things, and then, once you get logged into Tynker, you'll see something that looks like this, and over on the left of your screen, there's this taskbar. If you click create a project and then scroll all the way down and find HTML and CSS, it's the light orange. It looks like a 5 and a 3 inside of it. That's what you're going to want to create, HTML and CSS, and that's what will allow you to make a website. And just in case you don't know, HTML is just another language, another coding language like JavaScript, Python, C++, Java. It's just the computer language we use for, for websites. I believe it's Hypertext Markup Language. It's an acronym. So you can create a project in that light orange, and you'll see something that looks like, when it loads, something that looks like this when you first log in. So I'll give everyone like a few minutes just to create an account, get logged in and such, and then we can kind of start. So I'll give everyone like 2 minutes at 5:15. Yeah, so Tynker, you can, if you saw when I was showing before, you could use a lot of different languages in this. There's block coding, so if you're just learning, it's drag and dropping blocks to do different things. There's Python, JavaScript, there's some robotics, and there's a bunch of different projects that you can start with like a skeleton outline and just change certain things. So it's a great website for learning, playing around, getting used to different types of, I guess like this one's a platformer. It's a great like starting level. So yeah, you can use this for a lot of different things. I think I have to make a new project. It didn't save, but all right, so once this is loaded, so here's a few examples of HTML coding, and we'll obviously go through these different things. But just to get you used to it, here's like a few different, obviously some things you want to do require more coding than others, and some are simple. But we're going to learn how to like put in pictures, how to link put links attached to pictures. So when you click on them, you can open a new page. So over here with this one, if I click on this picture of the dog, it opens a new tab of Pet Finder for you to adopt a dog and things like that. So we'll have a lot of fun playing around with those different things. But for now, this is our basic HTML. And so on line 1, you should all have, this should be what opens if you selected the right type of project when you did create a project. This is all our HTML code, and then over here we can do our CSS code. So CSS is what we're going to use for style, as it says over here. So the font family is just basically the font, you can make it like Times New Roman, Arial, Comic Sans, like that type of thing. So if I do this and type C, it will show me it will change it to cursive. There's a preset list of different texts that you can use. There's sans serif, which is kind of the standard one you'll get. There's we saw fantasy, that's like very thick. Monospace. There's a bunch of different font families that Tinker comes with. I think if you there's a way to get the whole list. I think usually it just pops up. I don't know why it's not doing that right now, but there's, what is it? Inherent, that would look like the standard again. So we'll just leave it for cursive, which kind of looks like Comic Sans, but, and then margin is how much it's, like if you hit the tab key on a document, how it indents it. Margin is just how big that indent is. So if I want this text to be, so you can also resize the page as you saw me just do. But if I wanted this text to be like over like 40, I could do that. And you can see that it added that gap there. I can make it like 200 and it'll just change that margin. There we go. So I'll just make it 20 for now. And we'll come back to the CSS. We're gonna start with, is there a way to bring Google Fonts into your web page? I don't know off the top of my head. There might be a way to. I know you can definitely bring in photos. I'll look into that in a second and get back to you if you can import fonts. I'm sure there's a way to. I just don't personally, I never have done that, so. Also, up here, what is that? Like the caret symbols with the slash in between. If you click that, it gives you examples of chunks of code. So you could go to HTML and like table, ordered list, unordered list, things like that. If you don't want to type it all out, you can just click insert and it will automatically insert into your code. So that's a nice little way to save yourself some time typing. Yes, you can also, in Tinker, you can write Python language codes to make games and stuff like that. But for websites, like I said, we're going to use HTML. So basically, this line 1, now we're in the HTML file. I switched from the CSS. So HTML is where all your code is going to go for your web page, for what you want to see on your web page. So this line 1, it just is telling your computer what language you're writing in. So it's saying we're going to write in HTML. And then we have everything inside these caret braces, the triangle braces, whatever you like to call them, are called tags. And every tag needs an end tag. So you can see this on line 2, we have HTML, and then on line 11, we have a /HTML. That /HTML is called the end tag, and it just signifies, all right, everything in between the first tag and the end tag is for a certain purpose. So that will make more sense as we get into the body. So down here, everything that goes inside the body shows up on your screen versus everything inside the head is not on your screen. So it doesn't do this on Tynker, but if you were to export it and have this as its own tab as a real website. Yeah, so Dhruv said was talking about the BR tag. Yeah, that does not need an end tag. There's a few exceptions for ones that don't need an end tag, but generally most of them will have an end tag, but good catch. So yeah, everything inside these title tags, the My HTML page, that is not over here, as you might think it is, but it would show up in this tab up here. Yes, HTML is the structure of the website. It's just the language we use to design it. Good question. So yeah, this My HTML page would show up in this tab up here where it says Coding for Kids Tynker. Whatever's inside the title would go up there. And then this link tab is just linking it to the CSS file we have here so that while we change something here, it changes in our main thing. Other things you could have inside the head tag is style. And this is, instead of using your CSS linked tab, you could create classes and IDs in there, and we'll get into that in a little. But for now, you can just know that style would go inside the head. But most things that we're going to be looking at is inside the body. So there's a few different types of, these are called H tags. There's 6 of them, H1 through H6, and they're just different sizes. And so if I was to, I won't do all 6, but if I made this an H3 tag, you can see that the H3 tag is smaller there. So if you don't want to put in your own CSS of changing it, there's a few preset, they're headers. So for headers of pages and such, you could use the H tags. And then this P tag just means paragraph, and that would be your standard body paragraph text, and you could change how this looks using your CSS or using style tags. So if you wanted, I'm going to get rid of this H3 real quick, but you can say you wanted to make a my favorites thing, my favorite things web page. You can see that also if I ever click on these tags, it will show you on your screen, it will highlight what that is pertaining to. So I click H1 and my favorite things gets highlighted, and I click P and it highlights this is my HTML page. So there's a question, what happens if we don't have the link inside the head? I can show you. If I just get rid of this, you can see that it went back to the default font family, margin, and such, because it's not getting that message from the CSS tab to make it cursive, to make it margin 20. But if you didn't want to have the CSS tab and you just want to get rid of it, that's when you could use the style tags. And inside of them, you can make classes or IDs. So hold on. We'll hold on that for just a second. So you could make this H1 tag, say my favorite things. Oh, I'll put the CSS link back. My favorite things, and then say you wanted to make a list of your favorite things. So I'm just gonna get rid of this for now. There's a few ways to make lists. You can either do ordered lists, which are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you could do bulleted lists. So they're called unordered lists, and they're just like bullet points. So there's two ways to do this. Again, like I said, you can go up to these caret brackets and find ordered list and unordered list and insert them yourself, or you can type them. So if you were to type them, if I wanted to make an unordered list, I'd use UL, the U for unordered and L for list. And Tinker adds the end tag for you, which is nice. So for, who was it? I think Dhruv, yeah, so Dhruv said the thing about having the BR tag doesn't need an end tag. If it needs an end tag, Tinker will automatically add it for you, which is super nice. So if I wanted to make an unordered list, I can't just go apples, bananas, blueberries, because that will just do it all as one thing. For each item of the list, I use LI, and then it will add the /LI, the end tag. And then if I do that for all of them, real quick, LI. And again, you can just go up to the caret bracket and add this if you don't want to type this all out. And it automatically added that for me. So now when I run my code, it will add a bullet point for each thing. So basically this LI, each LI is a different bullet point, or if this was an ordered list, meaning I just changed that U to an O, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll use this handy dandy tool up here, and I have an ordered list. So now I'll add an unordered list, but it just goes like that. I indent it so that it's easier to read, more organized, and then now I have two lists. So that's the very basic way of making lists. If the holidays are coming up, if you make Christmas lists or Hanukkah lists, you could code it in Tinker and then share it with your parents. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be different than just like a normal Christmas list, or you can send the link to Santa. I don't know if they have internet in the North Pole, but I'm sure you could try. And then, so that's the most basic. Those are lists. Over here, this code on the screen now you're seeing is coloring. So you can create your own colors using hexadecimal, which is just a certain type of, like instead of saying blue, you can get the hex value for blue. So if you were to Google like hex value for blue, it would come up with a 6-digit chunk of code. And the first two are red, the second two are green, and the last two are blue. So if you wanted blue, it doesn't change the red or the green, but if you wanted a combination of something, you'd use all three. So over this one, on line 8, you see the color is 999999, which is this gray color. So when you add the combinations all together, that's what you get. The hex values are on a scale of, 1 to F. So it's 1, 2, 3, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah, E, F. So this is how you could do a gradient. Is I was talking about style earlier. You can just, not even using CSS in this one, inside of your tag before in the start tag, not the end tag, you just put style equals and then the color colon and then the color you want. If you wanted just this to say blue, you can just type blue as well. You don't have to use hexadecimal. I just used it so that I could create this gradient. Oh, I think I'm missing a 9. There. Oh, I'm missing the hash. There we go. So you can play around with those to create your own custom colors, which is really cool. So this is a gray to dark gray, and this is a blue to a darker blue. So those are fun ways to do gradients. I will drop this chunk of code into chat in case you wanted to have a copy of it for yourself. And then we can get into adding pictures to your list, to your code. So I'll also give everyone a few minutes to play around with coloring. So you could either do that in style, you could do color, I think it's font color, or it could just be color actually. Color, colon, and then if you do the colon, there's a bunch of preset colors that come in with Tinker, or you can use hexadecimal. Yes, you can change the individual colors on the number and bulleted list. So right there, I just changed in the CSS, so it changes for everything. But if I was to do this inside my li tag over here without the semicolon, and then I was to pick a different color, like blue. Oh, hold on, I think I did that wrong. Oh, I forgot to do style equals. Style equals, and there we go. So if I was to do that, I don't think you need the semicolon. If I was to do that with each individual li, and then I wanted to make this one red for apples, I guess I'll make this one yellow for bananas, and this one blue for blueberries, then you can see it changes each individual thing. But if you do that, what you might notice is that bananas is really hard to read because it's yellow text on a white background. So we could even change the background color of the entire website. And that would be up here with the style that I was talking about. And we would create a ID called background. Actually, I'll give everyone a second to play around with text color before I start this, but that will be the next thing we'll do. So I'll give everyone a little bit of time to play around with colors. Endless possibilities. So yeah, now that you had a little bit of time to play around with the colors, up here in the style, inside the style tags, we can create IDs in class. So if we use the hashtag symbol, that's an ID. And if we use the period, you don't want to ever call these the same thing just because that can get confusing. But if you use the period, that is a class. So if I wanted to make a class called Apple and make color equal red, oh, this is colon, sorry. Color red, and then instead of saying style equals here, I can just do class equals Apple. And that changes that there. So using the same idea there, we can change the ID. So if I wanted my body to have the ID equals background, right now that wouldn't do anything just because we haven't defined what's in our background. But if I just wanted to make it background dash color, and I wanted to make it aquamarine. Again, those are not good colors on top of each other, but you could play around. Again, you can use hexadecimal and you can go A, B, C, D, E, F. Get a nice little blue color. Still not necessarily easy to read the yellow on the blue, but if I wanted, I can make it gray like in the other, you can make it gray. I can also change this this yellow to a different hexadecimal value of yellow to make it like a lighter yellow if I wanted to. And so that's how you can change the background. So now you have colorful text and a colorful background. And hopefully it looks a little better than the website we were looking at the beginning with the animated orange background and the random colors of text and all that. So the li tags can be used for organized and unorganized lists. Yep, so the li is any type of list. You can just remember it of li, the first two letters of list. You use it no matter what type of list it is. It just represents a single item in the list. So li list item versus ol ordered list and ul unordered list. I always like to look at the tags and like think of how they, like what makes sense in my head. So li might not actually stand for list item, but in my head it helps me remember that for every item I need to put an li. So now let's say I wanted to add a picture of an apple because, you know, this is my favorite things. I want a picture of an apple. I am going to use, here's my cursor. I'm gonna put it in, if I want it to be right after this apple, like part of the list, but not have its own item in it, then I will do everything in between these li tags. So I have apples, and I'm just gonna press enter so it's easier for me to see so that I can see, all right, everything in between here and here will be indented and I know that it refers to that single list item. So I have apples, and then say I just want a paragraph here of a space so that there's like, that's like pressing enter. I could put a BR, like someone mentioned earlier, which is just break. And then I will use a perf equals link caret. So again, I think you can get this. I guess it does not have the preset in there, but it's ahref equals link and then /a. And so then I can put a link where this link is. So say I want to go to Apple, not Applebee's, but some random Apple website. If I type this, it will definitely take me to Apple, the electronic brand, but we'll just add that in for now. If I right click it and click copy link address, it will, or you can click on it and get it from up here, whichever you prefer. And then just inside those quotation marks, I can paste the link. And then when I run it, nothing happens, right? That's because we're just defining this link is. Inside of this is what will actually be displayed. So I can put Apple, and you can see that Apple pulled up. So I'll just do link so that you can tell the difference between the list and the link. So the link, if I click on link, will open this. Or I can even put an image inside of that. So image source equals link. This is similar to the ahref, which is link. The image source, it has the same setup. It just has the keyword in green, then the function, and then equal, and then you put the link. Oh, did I type it wrong? Did I do? Oh, I was typing too fast. Good catch. So yeah, right now I have it as an image without an actual image, so it comes up as that icon. But if I was to take away that and do link, you could see a link comes up with the hypertext, and it was blue before I clicked on it, and then it was purple because I clicked on it. But if I put the image back in, again, I don't actually have a link there, so it comes up as this like unfound image, but I can go to a picture of just an Apple instead of Apple website and say I did want it to be an apple, not the electronic apple, but the food apple. I could right click the image and do copy image address, and that gets me the link of the picture rather than the link of this Google search. So you want to right click your image, do copy image address, and then you can paste it inside of that where I had link. And then there's a giant picture of an apple, and we can resize that. So there's two ways to resize it. You could either in your style define, I think here's an example of that over here. You can define image, and you could just do image height is 200 pixels. Or you could, sorry, lost where my tab went. I'm going to close out of these extra tabs. Inside of it, you could do, what is it, height. And what size do I want to make it? Oh, I think it's supposed to be capital H actually. So height equals, so you could either do pixels or you can use EM. I forget what EM is an abbreviation for, but basically EM refers to a percentage of the screen rather than a set number of pixels. So if you're changing from a computer to a not computer to laptop, basically the same thing, a computer to a phone or an iPad or something where it's going to display differently. If you use EM, it will take up a percentage of a screen rather than the picture always being super big. So if I make it like, let's say 100 EM, and it's a square picture, so it automatically changed the width, but I'll still also type in width to 100 EM. Good practice just to define both height and width if you change one of them. And then there's a picture. And then if I click on it, because we linked the link to it, it opens Apple. Or you can link it to something, whatever you want it to be. So for anyone who's just following along, not necessarily typing, that is in chat, the code for linking a picture and a website together in case you want to save that for later use or whatever you want to do. But you could do that with all of these. So I could copy my text rather than type it all again. And do this for all the items in my list. And obviously I would have to change the picture because it wouldn't make sense, and the link. It wouldn't make sense to have bananas link you to the Apple website and a picture of an apple. But so once you start adding things like that, you can see text really starts to add up. And so it might look like a lot and overwhelming, but it's basically doing the same thing over and over again. So BR is a nice tag. It doesn't have an end tag, but it just is like pressing enter on your computer. And another fun tag you can use that doesn't have an end tag is HR, which makes a horizontal row or line, and that's this white line down here. So every time you type it, it adds a nice little line. So those are some cool formatting tags. So as you get better, or not better, as you're playing around with all of these different things, you can change up your background color, you can change up your text color, you can add things to your list. If you want some more formatting blocks, say you wanted to make something bold, you can go to, let's say I want to make Apple bold. Just inside, again, everything that I am doing to this text here is inside my initial LI block, the start and the end. So anything I do inside of this will change apples. So if I want to make it bold, I can do B, and then I would just want the end tag to be after apples. Otherwise, it wouldn't actually make apples bold. And I could go like that. And now it's bolded. If I wanted the list item to be bold altogether, I can put the bold outside of the list rather than inside of the list, and that will, and then get rid of this. You can see that makes the entire, the number bolded as well, rather than just the text. And you can also italicize something as well. That's another pretty simple block like the B. It's just /I and /I. And you can run it, and now it's bolded and italicized. And yeah, so those are a few ways to format it. There's a few other, so you could also do with Apple, we called it class Apple, and we'll also make this one class Apple. Class equals Apple. And then I can change something here, and it will change both of them, so I can make the font family. Here's the list of all the font families that I was talking about before. I can make it monospaced, and you can see it changed both of them. And I can make it font. I can change all these different things about the font, like the display, the family, the feature settings, the language, size. So I can make the size 100 pixels. Again, you can use EM for this as well. That's very big. Maybe I'll make it 10 pixels, or I'll make it 50. Obviously much bigger. 20, a little bit bigger. 20 EM, very big. With EM, it's usually small numbers between. You could do like, it's usually less than 10 unless you want it to be really big. So yeah, you can see that that changed both down here and up here because I'm changing the class. So that's what's nice about making classes is if you want to change multiple things, you don't have to go like, if I wanted to change the bananas, I'd have to change it all within here and then go through every time. So it's easier just to make a class, but you could still do style equals color yellow. You could do font family equal, or I forgot to say style. Style equals font family, and cursive. Oh, it already is cursive. That's why it's not changing. What was it? Inherit, I think was one. So yeah, you can see that changed it. And you can hard code it that way, or you can just change it with classes and IDs up here. So I've been talking a long time. So if anyone has any questions about your code, you want to know how to do a certain thing, anything like that, what do you guys want to know about websites, web design, how to code your own websites, anything like that? Any questions? Yeah, does anyone want to show off their website as well? I'll stop screen sharing if you want to do that. Is there a way you can resize the image? Yes, so to resize it, you just, right after the image, right after the quotation marks, you use a capital H in height equals, and then a capital W width equals, and you'd put the size you want it to be in quotation marks like you see on the screen here. I can make it, again, you could use pixels or EMs here, so I can make it 100 pixels or make it like 300 pixels. You can see that it's very distorted right now because it's a square image. But yeah, does anyone want to show off their website, what they've been doing, anything like that? I think you should show up. Someone should show it off. I'll stop screen sharing. Anyone, or any questions as well, if you don't want to show off what you've done, that's totally fine too. Your computer won't let you screen share, or just won't let you code your website right now? It'll crash if you try. All right, let's not make your computer crash then. That's fair. Anyone else want to show off what they've done?
So it seems like everyone is intensely coding quietly.
Seems like it.
So if you guys don't have any more questions, Lauren, thank you so much for hosting this wonderful workshop. I truly found it like a great recap from like everything you've learned, and some things like that you didn't know, you learned them today. So thank you so much for hosting this workshop.
Thank you for inviting me. You're